Hello and welcome once more to Red Gaming Tech. My name is Marta. Today is the 3rd of October and I have some more news for you today regarding The Evil Within, as Bethesda has detailed the minimum PC system requirements just ahead of the game's release, which of course is later this month. Now, this is pretty hot on the heels of the recommended PC system requirements, which I will go through again with you in just a moment, which had a rather, well, let's say large amount of video RAM required, that being 4 GB. However, the minimum specs are slightly more forgiving, and Bethesda said, quote, "Last week we posted our recommended PC system specs for The Evil Within, and in turn we received plenty of feedback. While we still recommend this benchmark to experience the game in all its gory glory, we also recognise the need to provide information on how you can play this game with a wide range of PCs. Minimum requirements for The Evil Within can now be found. You won't be experiencing the game at 1080p, and you'll most likely need to turn off some features, but you'll still be able to have a great experience with the game. So OS-wise is Windows 7 or 8.1, GPU is GTX 460 or equivalent 1 GB VRAM card, CPU is i7 or an equivalent 4+ core processor, RAM is 4 gigs, and HD space, is still a rather mighty 50 GB. So let me refresh your memory and compare that to the recommended PC specs. It was Core i7 with 4+ cores, 4 gigs RAM, 50 gig hard drive space, and then the killer GeForce GTX 670 or equivalent with 4 gigs of VRAM, which is pretty insane. As I said before, Evil Within is not exactly Crysis 3. It is a nice looking game, don't get me wrong, but it's pretty crazy that it's asking for so much VRAM, but that seems to be the name of the game at the moment, as of course Shadow of Mordor just came out, and that is asking for a crazy 6 GB of VRAM, and very few cards have that much VRAM available. So the minimum specs are slightly more forgiving. As they said, you're probably not going to be running it with everything turned up to max, but you still get a good experience nonetheless. Now, I was hoping that these recommended specs were for higher than 1080p resolution, perhaps not 4K, maybe 1440 or something like that, but given Bethesda's comments with the minimum specs, it seems like that is for 1080p. So it'd be interesting to see just how power hungry this game actually is and whether or not the graphics are actually worth it when it comes out. Of course, it's hard to judge from footage you see online due to artifacting and whatnot, so it's going to be interesting to say the least. Anyway, that is me done for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.